For years, maritime experts whispered of a phantom. They were wrong. They were wrong. The chilling reality was far more tangible. A derelict cruise ship, uncrewed, unlit, and utterly adrift, roaming the North Atlantic. It was a vessel truly lost to the sea, yet hauntingly present. This isn't a ghost story conjured from myth. This is the true account of the MV Lyubov Orlova, a ship that became a legend in its own right, a modern Flying Dutchman sailing into the realm of the unknown. Her journey from elegant explorer to maritime specter is a tale of economic collapse, legal battles, and the brutal, indifferent power of the open ocean. Built in Yugoslavia in 1976, the Lyubov Orlova began her life as a proud Soviet vessel, named after a celebrated actress. She was designed for Arctic and Antarctic expeditions, a sturdy ice-strengthened ship built to navigate some of the world's harshest waters, carrying intrepid adventurers to remote, icy frontiers. For decades, she served her purpose, ferrying passengers through breathtaking landscapes of icebergs and wildlife. But as the Soviet Union crumbled, so too did the fortunes of many state-owned enterprises. The Orlova's proud voyages eventually gave way to uncertainty. By 2010, the ship found herself in St. John's, Newfoundland, under the ownership of a Canadian company, Cruise North Expeditions. She'd been operating under charter, but financial troubles soon began to mount. Debts accumulated, and a critical moment arrived. The Orlova was seized. The seizure wasn't for some grand maritime crime, but for unpaid debts amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Crew members hadn't been paid for months, and their desperate plight led to the ship being impounded. This was the beginning of her dramatic downward spiral. For 2 years, the Lyubov Orlova sat dormant in St. John's, a ghost of her former self, a silent witness to her own decline. Her fate was sealed. She would be sold for scrap. A company from the Dominican Republic bought her for a mere $275,000, a pittance for a vessel once valued in the millions. The plan was simple: tow her across the Atlantic to a scrapyard in the Dominican Republic. On January 23, 2013, the tugboat Charlene took the Orlova under tow. But the ocean had other ideas, and the journey that began with such clear intentions soon devolved into maritime chaos. Just one day out of St. John's, a powerful gale struck. Winds howled, waves crashed, and the tow line connecting the Charlene to the Orlova snapped. The ghost ship was now truly free, adrift in the unforgiving expanse of the North Atlantic, a colossal derelict with no one at the helm. Attempts were made to reconnect the tow. For several days, the Charlene battled the storm, trying to recapture its rogue cargo. But the weather was relentless, and the Orlova, battered but resilient, drifted further and further away, vanishing into the churning gray waters. Canadian authorities, concerned about the potential hazard, briefly resecured the vessel. A new tow was established by the offshore supply vessel Atlantic Hawk, but their jurisdiction ended 200 nautical miles offshore. Beyond that boundary, the Orlova was no longer Canada's problem. On February 4, 2013, the Atlantic Hawk released the tow. The Lyubov Orlova, now completely outside Canadian waters and deemed no immediate threat to offshore oil and gas operations, was set loose. She became an international problem, or rather, no one's problem at all. The abandoned ship, weighing thousands of tons, was now truly a phantom. She carried no crew, no lights, no functioning equipment. Her hull was a potential hazard to navigation, a silent leviathan waiting in the vastness, capable of inflicting catastrophic damage to any unsuspecting vessel. For months, the Lyubov Orlova became the subject of intense speculation and fascination. Reports surfaced. She was spotted off the coast of Ireland. No, she was near the Azores. Every distant radar blip, every unconfirmed sighting, fueled the legend of the Phantom cruise ship. The British Coast Guard even issued warnings, advising ships to be on the lookout for a derelict vessel, partially submerged. The fear was real. A collision with such a massive, unlit hulk could spell disaster for container ships or even smaller fishing vessels, especially in stormy weather. One bizarre theory even emerged: that the ship was infested with rats, having survived for months by cannibalizing each other, a floating biohazard drifting towards European shores. This was, of course, unsubstantiated, but it painted a vivid picture of the public's imagination running wild. Despite the dramatic headlines and the pervasive fear, no concrete evidence of the Lyubov Orlova's location ever materialized after March 2013. Satellite images, radar sweeps, and countless hours of observation yielded nothing definitive. She had simply vanished. The prevailing theory is that the ship eventually succumbed to the Atlantic's immense power. Derelict vessels often fill with water, become unstable, and ultimately capsize. It's likely the Lyubov Orlova sank somewhere in the deep, cold abyss, her final resting place unknown. She wouldn't be the first, nor the last ship to be swallowed by the ocean. The Atlantic graveyard is vast, holding countless vessels and their stories. But the Orlova's tale stands apart because of her final, uncrewed voyage, her journey from active service to phantom menace. The MV Lyubov Orlova remains a potent symbol, a reminder of economic fragility, the relentless legal entanglements of the maritime world, and above all, the raw, untamed force of nature. She was a ship built for exploration, ironically becoming a mystery herself. Her story echoes through maritime lore, a modern ghost ship that truly sailed the seas unsupervised, a massive, silent enigma in an age of constant tracking and surveillance. It's a testament to how quickly human control can be lost, and how easily the ocean can reclaim its own. The Lyubov Orlova's legacy isn't one of heroic voyages or tragic sinkings with human loss, but of an eerie, silent drift into oblivion. She is the ultimate ghost ship, a vessel that disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only whispers and a chilling, cautionary tale. Her story serves as a stark reminder of the ocean's power, a force that can turn even the most robust vessel into a forgotten relic, a phantom cruise ship forever sailing in the collective imagination of those who heard her tale. If you find stories of ships lost to the sea as compelling as we do, you'll want to dive into our next exploration of maritime mysteries. If you find stories of ships lost to the sea as compelling as we do, you'll want to dive into our next exploration of maritime mysteries.